Hello, my name is George Verbena, and this is a video on the astrology of narcissism and self-hatred in your natal chart. Now, to make things really easy for you, I'm just gonna feed you a little list starting out in this video with what aspects you can expect if you know somebody, see somebody who hates themselves. And because self-hatred is not a small thing, it is actually a disorder of the identity. It will often appear to come in people who suffer from a cluster B condition, or at least people who suffer from narcissistic abuse or some other form of malignant abuse. And I'm going to talk about each of these aspects, going through the whole list that I made. Yes, I made it, not from the internet. And I'm going to tell you my observations, my experience with self-hatred in the charts of hundreds of clients. And I've heard the stories. I've listened to people who suffer from identity disturbances. And this is just going to be one of those videos in which you learn a little bit about how you can read this in your chart, in anybody's chart. How you can read it if your partner, your friend, your father, your mother has any confirmation that you need to truly accept that you're dealing with somebody who may be mentally ill. Yes, of course, disclaimer, this video is not here to judge people who have any of these aspects, all of them, or 3 of them, because many people have some of these aspects. Not everybody is going to be a narcissist, so let's get that out of the way. And if you do have some of these aspects, don't immediately go into, I knew it, I'm a narcissist. First of all, if you're that quickly to judge yourself, you're not a narcissist. But if you are, then let this be your confirmation. And whoever else is struggling with identity disturbance, asking themselves, am I a narcissist or not? Is he a narcissist or not? This video is not supposed to be some kind of shortcut for you to just ignore your intuition and just listen blindly to whatever I'm telling you. You don't have to listen to me, you don't have to listen to this list, you don't need to care about any of this. But this is astrology, this is education, this is science, this is archetypal cause and effect. If you are born with any of this, there's a reason for that. And if you don't have narcissism, there's a reason for that too. And one video, even if it's an hour long, is not going to be enough to tell you if you are a narcissist or not. But this will be a very good start. So let's begin. First of all, let's talk about the first things I put on this list. Outer planets, or malefics. Not Mars. It's a malefic Mars, but I did not include Mars here. Because if you do Mars conjunction the Sun or the Moon, it's more of a neutral aspect. It's not necessarily going to be the cause of abuse, you know. But all the other aspects, which are outer planets, these malefics, yes, based on observation, based on science, based on literature, these planets are known. This is not just me. This is Vedic astrologers, tradition, and God knows who. This is common knowledge, that the outer planets are malefics. And a malefic negatively affects the natural expression of a planet. Now, as you can see here, I talk about Saturn, Uranus, Pluto and Neptune being conjunct the Sun, Moon or Rising. Now, why did I not mention anything about Mercury, Mars or Venus in any of this list? Because these other inner planets, I mean, it would be too much of a list. This is the most common self-hate indicators. These indicators are so common actually that there is more than 80% chance that if you have any of these aspects, even one of them, that you've experienced self-hatred in your early life for more than just a short phase. That perhaps it has been one of your companions. So, why do these outer planets create self-hatred when they are conjunct with Sun, Moon or Rising? Well, because the Sun represents your self-image, your self-esteem. Having a malefic on that is like somebody saying, let me slap your self-esteem. But having a very slow-moving, very heavy, dense outer planet on the Sun, well, it's not a recipe for success. Most of the time, when I read this in the natal chart, I know the person has daddy issues. You know, it's just how it is. I mean, if you have this conjunction Sun, you hide yourself. You restrict yourself. Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, they all hide something in your chart. That's why you can't see them in the night sky. Saturn is the only outer planet which you can see. Maybe it's not even an outer planet, like you can actually see Saturn with a naked eye in the night sky. So this is the least bad of these planets. Surprisingly, right? Because you would think, well, Saturn should be bad. Yeah, Saturn is pretty bad, but not as bad as Uranus, Pluto and Neptune. Neptune is the worst of these, because Neptune is fantasy, escape. Now, why would you have escape conjunct your Sun, Moon or Rising? Like, what are you escaping from? You know, like, what is this? And then you have Pluto. Pluto is about death and rebirth. But what is death doing conjunction your Sun, Moon or Rising? I know this sounds oversimplified, but really, it's not. This is astrology. It is archetypal. So Pluto is about destruction. Yeah? It's about breaking things down and then building them back up. But to build them back up, well, they first have to be destroyed. So that part of you has been destroyed. Of course. That's why you have it Sun, Moon or Rising. It's simple physics. It's not complicated. And then you have Uranus. Now Uranus is interesting, because Uranus is about invention, progress, the unusual or alien. What would that have to do with self-hatred? Uranus is also the planet of rejection. rejection of rules, rejection of others, of the group, of conformity. Yes, the group, even though Uranus rules the group, ironically, this is the double side of Uranus. It is also against the group, okay? Uranus rejects the past. Uranus rejects whatever it is conjunction with. Because if you want to change something, if you want to progress, if you want to reinvent yourself, you first have to break yourself down. You first have to let go. You have to detach. You have to eliminate the past before you can get into the future. So Uranus conjunction Sun, Moon, or Rising is self-rejection. Always. No exceptions. Okay, I mean, really. I've looked into many Uranus people. I have Uranus opposite the Ascendant. I attract Uranus people like the plague. So that's most of my clients really who have Uranus conjunction any of that. Most of my friends too. They all have been rejected by one of the parents. And when I say rejected, I mean like rejected. Like the parent just didn't want them. The parent was like, sorry, I can't take care of you. Bye. Of course, there's exceptions, which are rare. But in exceptions, the person feels rejected, is rejected, but the parent doesn't hate them. In exceptions. Okay. So, the exception, still bad. I mean, all of it is very malefic. That's why it's called a malefic, okay? Then we have Saturn, conjunction Sun, Moon, or Rising. So Saturn is self-explanatory. This is the most basic. It's a lot of restriction. It's a lot of karma. It's a lot of punishment, but also reward. But the reward it requires hard work. Now, why would you have to work on your Sun, ego, Moon, comfort, home, femininity, self-regulation, or Rising, which is your identity? Why would you have to work on this? Unless the parent is convincing you that there is something wrong with you. So that's basically it. Saturn comes here from the parent saying there's something wrong with you. If you want me to love you, you have to work for it. You know, so yes, it is very malefic. So it's a typical self-hate indicator. So then, not only conjunctions can indicate self-hatred, but here I have the next point. If you have at least 2 more major planets in a square opposition to Sun, Moon, or Rising, it can indicate there's some kind of identity issue. That's why I say at least 2 more, because if you have at least 2 squares oppositions to these outer planets with any of Sun, Moon, or Rising, then yes, it's extremely likely that you suffer from self-hate. Or you have in the past, because obviously none of this is forever. This is just like you take a box of chocolates and then you eat the chocolate, but as you're digesting the chocolate is no longer the chocolate. Suddenly the chocolate is your hand or some pus in your belly. Well, next point. Asteroids, hypothetical objects, and fixed stars. So these can also have to do with self-hate, and some people will be confused at this list. They will ask me, well, you're telling me that having Sedna, Chiron, Lilith, Pholus, Nessus, Ixion, Pallas, Persephone, which nobody uses but I do, But basically having all of the asteroids, any of them, on my sun, ascendant, or moon is a self-hate indicator? And my answer is absolutely yes. Yes. Now, for some of you who are smart on asteroids, you may have noticed that I didn't include Ceres. Haha, yes, so not all asteroids that are prominent and commonly used. Why didn't I include Ceres? Because Ceres is the goddess of agriculture and food. How am I going to add that to the self-hate list? Like, you know, I'm not stupid. I don't make this list by random. So I consciously, deliberately put all of these objects there. And let me go one by one to explain why. So first of all, those fixed stars, Algol, self-explanatory, is the Lilith star, and Lilith is about self-rejection. Now Algol represents Medusa, and Medusa looked into the mirror and she saw that she was a monster. Well, looking into the mirror and seeing that you are a monster is the most literal definition of self-hatred that I've ever heard, so there you go. Then you have Antares. Now this is not so easily understood, so let me explain. Antares is the fixed star of daredevils, rogues who basically, they go crazy, like they go all the way, they're like obsessed with shit. Well, why are you obsessed with shit? Why do you want to go crazy? Unless you are crazy. And what makes you crazy? It's the heart of a scorpion. Heart represents love. Okay. And the scorpion represents something that hurts. Something that's painful. Something that has to die to be reborn. So literally having the heart that has to die and be reborn, conjunction your sun, moon, or rising. Well, self-hate is the opposite of self-love. And where does love come from? From the heart, which dies and is reborn. So it's also very easy to understand, but you know, you get to it. With Antares, from what I find, both Antares and its rival Aldebaran are major identity disorder indicators in the natal chart. Because to have these, the person is rigidly obsessed with power. Antares is power, power of the truth. Power of the heart. The heart is ruled by the sun, and the sun illuminates. So it's exposing. So they're obsessed with exposing you. Which is revenge. Revenge against who? Why do you need revenge? You know, unless somebody hates you and you want to get back at them. And then that somebody is your parent, so you know. And then Aldebaran. Aldebaran is about putting on a facade, becoming a politician like Donald Trump, and saying, I'm so amazing, and look at me, and actually there's nothing behind it, so you get all the benefits, but then everybody leaves you. So why are you so obsessed with your facade, unless you don't like what's behind it yourself? So it's also very obvious self-hatred indicator. Because a mask is what you need when you need to hide. What are you hiding? Yourself? Well, when you hide it because you don't like it. Okay? So then you have the asteroids. Now I'm getting to the good stuff. Okay? I like it, the good stuff, because so many of them. So it's not unlikely that you have any of them. Conjunction sun, moon, or rising. So look into your chart. Do you have any of them? Look and then listen to this, because I'm going to go through each one of them in this list. So first asteroid, Sedna. I made this list and I said in this order because this is from worst to least worst. So most self-hatred to least self-hate. So Sedna is the worst self-hatred asteroid that exists in this realm. That's why I put it first. What's so bad about Sedna? She sounds so cute, right? It's just a Sedna. It's just the lady of the frozen water. She's so cute. What could possibly be so bad about her? Well, probably most of you watching don't have a clue what Sedna is. Sedna is a girl that got her fingers cut off by her father while she was on a boat in a storm. Her father said, I need to survive the storm. You are in the way. Let me just cut you off. I may still die, but you know, it's a little less likely that I die if I let you die first. So Tak cuts her fingers off, she falls to the bottom of the ocean and then becomes one with the ocean. Well, if you have it conjunction Sun, Moon or Rising, why is your father or mother, if it's a moon, cutting you off, letting you die, and then you become one of the ocean means you are disappearing? Why do you need to disappear? What's wrong with you? Unless you hate, again, what you see. Why do you need to disappear? What's the problem? Why do you feel as worthless as your father showed you that you clearly are? Because you're just ballast? You're just making it like 1% more likely that I'm going to survive the storm if I let you die. So, it's the issue of worthlessness. If you have Sedna conjunction with the Sun, I'm glad you like my sarcasm, Rikara. Appreciate. So, Sedna on the Sun. Sedna on the Ascendant. Well, what's your problem with your self-image, with your looks? Why do you need your looks to die? I mean, are you that ugly? You know, I'm just asking. If you have the conjunction with the Moon, why did your comfort, your stability, your love, which is the divine feminine care, self-care, why was that destroyed and left at the bottom to rot? So of course, this is the most obvious self-hate indicator actually in the zodiac, Sedna. Sedna is stronger, in my list, is the strongest of all self-hate indicators that exist as far as I know. Okay, anybody that I've read their chart who had Sedna conjunction Sun, Moon or Rising, all of them have suffered from major self-hatred and major abandonment trauma. You know, this is really a heavy asteroid. This is not like, you know, like, oh, it's just an asteroid, it doesn't matter, right? Asteroids are irrelevant. Yeah, right. That's why they're more impactful than the outer planets if you have in Sun, Ascendant, Moon. So then we get to Chiron. Do you have Chiron conjunction your big three? If you do, I'm actually not the first to say that this is a narcissism indicator. The biggest narcissism indicator that actually is commonly known. Because Chiron is about giving up. Because it's the wounded healer. Well, why do you have a wound? Who wounded you? And what is wounded? Sun, self-image, self-esteem. So it's very obvious, self-hate. Ascendant, I mean, if you have it on the Sun, your father was most likely a narcissist anyways. Ascendant, yeah. There has been some abuse, clearly. Because ascendant is identity. Even just how you look, even your physical body is rejected to such a degree that you have no chance of feeling comfortable in your body, because just how disgusting your parents believe that you are. Now this sounds even worse than Sedna, doesn't it? But believe it or not, Sedna is even worse, but it's not a competition. Chiron is a major self-hate aspect. On the moon is not as bad as the sun or rising, but it's still bad. Because on the moon it means nobody wanted to take care of you. You learned that it's just not going to happen. You can plead, you can cry, you can fight, fly, fawn, you can do anything you want. They're not going to pour into your cup. Okay, so this of course creates the belief that your cup is not worth pouring, which is Ace of Cups in Tarot in reverse. An Ace of Cups is literally the self-love card, and Chiron on the moon is that in reverse. Okay, so then we look at the star of the show, which is what I have, Lilith. Now, whether you have Lilith, the mean version or the true version, H13, on your sun, moon, or rising, doesn't matter, because both work, because I've read so many charts and it really doesn't make any difference. I know many astrologers say, no, it's the true version. Because it's true, right? It must be true. Really. Is that your excuse? Because it says that it's true? because it's calculated based on... I don't even want to get into the discussion. I know for a fact that both work. I don't care what these people say. Use them both. See for yourself if it resonates. Okay? Don't have to listen to me or anybody. Lilith, first of all, is about self-rejection, like Uranus. But also because, she left the Garden of Eden, she left Adam, Adam rejected her, Adam thought of her as inferior, not worthy of consideration. When she was vilified, demonized, well, she was hated. So this is somebody who is hated, Lilith. Now, who's hating you? Sun, father, or moon, mother? Isn't it wonderful how easy it is to figure this out? Yes. If your sun is conjunction Lilith, your father hates your guts. Congratulations. And if your moon is conjunction Lilith, your mother hates you. And if you have a conjunction ascendant, you figure it out, because honestly it could be either of them. Hatred. What does a child do when it's hated? Does it say, oh, I hate you then because you are wrong, mother or father? Or does it say, well, then I guess I am bad because you are my mother and I can't stop loving you because you take care of me? Yes. So the child internalizes the hatred. Okay, and the hatred then needs to be a channel for a person to break out of that loop. The hatred needs to be channeled towards those who created it, not towards themselves. But this is what we see. Now, next thing, Pholus. Now, who the hell is Pholus? Well, Pholus is the butterfly effect. Yes, I made it up. Nobody else says it. Because it's true. If you have Pholus in your Sun, Moon, or Rising, the moment you try to get that self-worth, Sun, which is validation, if you want to get it, it's likely that you get it wrong. It's likely that your father doesn't acknowledge whatever you bring to the table. Actually, however you try, the father always has something to complain about. So, for example, if you go to the father and you follow his condition Sun and you say, well, look how good I'm at playing basketball. Then the father may say, well, but can you do better? Or the father may say, well, why do you need me to tell you that you are good at this? I don't care. Obviously, it's not going to be that obvious, but this is somebody who wants to be seen by the father. But the father just doesn't care, no matter what your accomplishment is. Now, if its Pholus is on the ascendant, the father doesn't care. Actually, the father is trying to control, trying to suppress how you move, how you express yourself, how you look, your face, your self-expression. Everything is wrong, no matter what you do. Except when you hide. As long as you hide and stay down, you're good. Then you're a good object, if you are putting the lid on. Same with the moon. If you want mommy to take care of you, be quiet. Right? You know these quiet children, they're like so cute and yeah, Pholus on the moon. Actually, Pholus on the moon, let me tell you, is how do I say it? Is very abusive indicator, okay? Somebody who has Pholus on the moon is worse than Lilith, Chiron, on any of the big three. Pholus on the moon is really like, oh, you want to feel nurtured? Then die. Be frozen. Don't express your emotions. So this is somebody who either becomes a robot, which is most people, or some people, yes, unfortunately, some people who follow on the moon, they just say, this is too much putting the lid on. I can't fulfill the lid that the mother is trying to put on me. So I'm just going to rebel. Now for a child to rebel, the suppression must be very extreme. And this is a borderline or narcissism indicator, having Pholus on the moon. There's no way anybody has Pholus on the moon anyways, unless there's something the mother is, I'm sorry, but I've seen so many Pholus on the moon, every single time the mother is just the most abusive of the most abusive. Is toxicity overload, okay? It's like somebody who wants you to die, basically, okay, the mother. So then you have Nessus. Now Nessus is about double binds, no win situations. So not only can you not fawn and be quiet to get your self-esteem, validation, or comfort, Sun, Moon, or Rising, but actually there's nothing you can do. The best you can hope for is to go mayhem, is to go kamikaze, is to destroy everything around you, is to throw a tantrum or something, go ballistic to get what you deserve, which is to be loved and taken care of. Okay, because Nessus died first of all in the myth, and then Hercules, who he wanted to die originally, died too. So this is the archetype of the suicide bomber, kamikaze, the avenger who is willing to sacrifice no matter what to get what he wants. So he's quite willing to sacrifice it, clearly, if there's no other choice. However, because Nessus is so antisocial, because it's so ballistic, usually people hide when they have Nessus on the sun, moon, or rising, and nobody has even a clue that they could possibly have this in the natal chart. Because society doesn't allow Nessus, doesn't have any tolerance for it, so it's usually suppressed. So of course these are all self-hatred indicators. Now I'm only going to touch briefly on Ixion, Pallas and Persephone, because these are minor indicators, okay? Ixion is the ruined king who got put on a wheel to be tortured for all eternity. So then I have to ask, well, who's torturing you? Ixion is about being tortured. For no reason. Really. However, whoever's torturing you is claiming that it's your fault and you deserve it. Like you did something wrong, even though you didn't. And then Pallas. Well, Pallas is Athena, Zeus, Jupiter, his favorite daughter. Well, if you are a favorite, why would you hate yourself? Well, you would hate yourself because you're not perfect. And you can't always be perfect. That's why. You can't always be Pallas, which is heavily armored, grown as an adult. From the moment she was born, she was like just the perfect goddess. From the moment she was born, she didn't have to become anything. She was just ideal. Of course, such a image is impossible to maintain. I have Pallas on the rising. And my mother told me that when I was a child, I was her treasure. I was just perfect. And my mother is has some kind of cluster B. Okay. I went no contact with my mother a year ago because she still needs me to be perfect. And she won't rest as long as she interacts with me until I fulfill that impossible standard, which is not possible. Like, to be perfect means to be like you want me to be, and that's just not going to happen. So Pallas means your parent wanted to be something else, which of course suggests that they hate what you already are. So it's an obvious indicator as well. Yes, isn't it amazing how many self-hatred indicators there are? It seems we are in a self-hate pandemic, possibly, or could it be that the majority of people, perhaps, on some level, hate themselves? I don't know if it's a majority, but I do know it's a lot of them. Persephone, she was the queen of the underworld, which was kidnapped, raped by Pluto, and then taken as a trophy. And when she didn't have any agency, she was just being controlled by her mother and Pluto. She didn't have a father, apparently, because nobody ever mentions her father in the mythology. Not really. So Persephone, she's the archetype of the sweet innocent. I'm just gonna play along. Yeah, I'm gonna be the wife of Hades, even though he raped me. That's fine. oh yeah, I'm gonna be mother's pet and meshed with her even though she controls me, that's fine. It's like somebody who's dead. It's a dead person. Which shouldn't be a surprise why she's the queen of the underworld. You have to be dead to be queen of the underworld, don't you? So it's an interesting symbology. Well, why are you dead? Why do you have a sun conjunction or ascendant moon on Persephone? You know? I have Venus conjunction Persephone. I attract Persephone. And every time I see somebody with that, I know from their past they were raped or molested or violently oppressed and meshed and God knows what. Okay, so all of these are plutonic objects. Make no mistake, these are not like, oh, it's just an innocent, meaningless little asteroid. If you have any of these meaningless little asteroids, conjunction Sun, Moon, or Rising, you're in for a treat. So, yes, exactly, Stockholm Syndrome. Yes. Oh, you have Sun opposing your Moon, you say, Rikara, in my comments. Aha. Well, in opposition, maybe somebody brings that Senna theme to you, but you still have your power. It's like you can say no to it if you want to. Maybe somebody punishes you for not being a sacrifice, so you may have some sacrificial tendencies, but you can choose not to do it. It's not rigid. Okay, opposition with asteroids, not a problem. This is how they are different from the outer planets. Oppositions to the outer planets really, really bad. Okay, but asteroids is whatever. Yes, that is correct. Should I only look at conjunctions as important for the asteroids and fixed stars? Yeah. I don't care about squares, trines, sextiles with the asteroids. They're really, you know, if somebody tells you, oh, the asteroids are irrelevant, well, it's the aspects that are irrelevant, except the conjunction. Because conjunction means merging, fusion. The reason why asteroids as aspects are not so relevant is because they're tiny little asteroids. They're not even planets. They're like small, you know, most of them. I mean, Nessus is quite large, okay, but the rest of them is so small. Lilith is a freaking cloud. It's a cloud. Like, it's not even, okay, like, you can't see it, okay? So, that's why aspects are like, you know, you have this big ass planet. Imagine Jupiter looking at this asteroid. Jupiter can't even see the asteroid, and you want to tell me that's relevant? If you can't even, like, it's so small. But now imagine what happens if you take this small, tiny little thing, but you get it closer to you, closer, and you put it on your face. Now imagine how it changes your face when you just put a tiny little acne red dot in the middle of your face. Like, you know how the Indians put the red dot in the middle? You can't miss it. So that's how an asteroid works. When it's a conjunction, it's freaking in your face. But if it's a square opposition, you can't see it. So take it from me, I know this is just an opinion, because unfortunately hardly anybody is studying this. We're really living in the dark ages. So I'm a pioneer. And I don't say that with ego, I say that with, why the hell do I have to be a pioneer? Can somebody tell me what these tiny aspects mean? Because nobody does. Nobody knows what they mean. Because they're so difficult to identify. So don't even look at them unless, I mean, you can. I don't stop you. I'm just saying I focus on the conjunction because I know what it means, you know. So then you look at sign aspects. As you can see, I kept this small. Libra and Aquarius, Sun or rising. Why not the Moon? Because the Moon is not considered to be in detriment or anything. There's not a history of drama following the Libra Aquarius Moon. But the Libra Aquarius Sun, it's common knowledge that these are the worst signs for the Sun to be in. Rising, well, rising is the Sun basically, and Libra is the opposite of Aries, which is exalted, so it's the worst of the risings. Aquarius is just one after. Why are these self-hate indicators? Because Libra is about how can I cooperate to get what I want. Why do you have to cooperate in the first place? What do you mean? Why is your father, Sun, or your mother, could be rising, because it can be either, why are they forcing you to cooperate with them? In other words, why are they a tyrant? Because only a tyrant tries to control you. So there you have it. Libra, Aquarius, Sun and rising is a controlling parent, usually the father, because these are the coldest of the signs. You don't want them to be in the warmest of the planets, which are literally like huge light bulbs, like the lamp behind me. Bro, if you put Libra or Aquarius onto that lamp, there's not going to be any light from that lamp. It's going to be dim. Now, who wants a parent who's like that? Nobody. But of course, who are we blaming? If our parent is so cold and detached towards us, ourselves. So it's obvious self-hate indicators. It's not rocket science. Of course, all of this is backed up on observation. I am using logic to explain all this, and logic is such a wonderful thing, isn't it? But I use my experience to back it up. So all of these aspects in this list, I've seen this like 1,000 times, and it's always the same. So the next point, last one, house aspects. So this is quite interesting, because I wrote Sun or Moon in the 7th, 11th or 12th house. Now some of you may think, isn't that discrimination? What do you have against my houses? What is so wrong with these houses? Well, because the 7th house is the house of the other, is the house of diplomacy. Well, having the Sun or Moon there, I have to ask, why do you have to make diplomacy with your parents? Because who do you make diplomacy with? With your enemies. This is the house of open enemies. Why are your parents open enemies? What's wrong with them? So there you go. And of course, the 11th house comes next. And the 11th house is the house of Aquarius. Now why the Moon then? Because the 11th house is the house of group consciousness. That means the group comes first. Now imagine you are a child, you're like a baby, and you're completely dependent on both of your parents to take care of you. And your needs have to come first. Biologically, you are designed to be a priority. Because you're a baby, you can't do anything. You depend on the parent. Now imagine the parent says, you're just a burden to us, my child. Don't you know the needs of us, the parents, come first? Don't you see, it's the parent, like son of the 11th house. I need more attention. Why do you want the attention all the time? Even though you're the child and you literally need it to survive. The parent says, oh, but what about us? Group consciousness. Now what is the sun, moon in the 11th house doing? What the heck is your parent doing? Forcing you, conditioning you to prioritize as a child that is completely dependent. You give yourself up to the group, to the parent. So of course it's a malefic, malicious, horrible, yes, I use these words, horrible house for sun and moon. Okay, it's the worst. I mean, really, real talk. 11th house sun moon. Every single time the parent is like, what is the parent doing? Saying, oh, but my needs come first, you selfish little child. You know? What the hell? So then, you have you say you have sun in Cancer in your 11th house. Well, then your father was selfish. I'm sorry to say. My daughter has moon in the 11th house. So somehow your thought. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm being exposed, because this is one of the situations, you know, where like you're completely trashing a house, and then you have somebody watching this who has their child in that house, and I just try. Oh God. Okay, let's break this down. So let's say you are not selfish, okay, but your child does have 11th house sun or moon. How is it possible? Well, maybe you are detached, not from the child's needs, but maybe you didn't have the time. Maybe you are busy. Maybe something was distracting you when the child was born. Could even be before the birth, really, around the birth, because you see, the child is born with that, so it must have happened around the early conception. Okay. So maybe you just got distracted. I don't know. I'm not making excuses for you, but let's be honest. I mean, this is the reality that we're living in. We can't always show up for our child. You know, sometimes we have our own stuff to take care of. So even though I know I use very harsh language and I can roast everything and everyone in astrology, it's not my intention to judge people, because I understand that life happens. Okay. Postpartum depression. No, there you go. You see, this is very typical. Both the 11th house and 12th house. If you are depressed, you don't want the child to be affected, right? So you try to hide it, or at least you try to keep it together, right? You try your best, but in this attempt to keep it together, to push it down, the child knows this, absorbs this, and then becomes this. It's just copying you. You don't need to be abusing the child. It's just a mirror. So there you go. Now the 12th house. I have sun in the 12th. And my father has sun in the 12th too. So he passed it on to me. Thanks to him, I have this here. Why is this a self-hate indicator? So 12th house is house of detachment, house of isolation, and dissolution of the self. Why does your sun and moon need to dissolve? What's wrong with them? I love how simple this is. Like, this is too simple. This is too easy. So if you have a house of dissolution on the sun and moon, then you're dissolving the sun and moon as a child. You have to. But why do you have to? What's wrong with it? So obviously, your parent is like an addict, like escape artist. I don't know. Like most of the time, son in the 12th house, father is alcoholic. Father is workaholic. Father is just like, where's the father? You know, he could even be dead. I don't know. It's like the child is not seen. So the child says, well, I guess I am unseen. Because 12th house is house of things that are unseen. So if something is in the 12th house, it's unseen. Because it's before the ascendant, before the physical body, before what you see. Before you're born, when you die, where you go back, you know, where you came from. So why your sun moon do need to go back? Why can't you be here? What's wrong with here? So you're in the 12th house, like me. So you don't like here. So you want to go back. Okay. So sun is self. So you want yourself to go back. Well, is there something wrong with you? Why can't you just be here? And moon is your happiness. So you're telling me you can't be happy here. That's why you're in fantasy house, dissolution, bye-bye. That's what it means. I don't make the rules. This is just basic logic. So this is really how it works. Okay. So that's it. Outer planets, asteroids, fixed stars, signs, houses. These from that list. You can copy that list. You can share it. I don't care. As long as you mention me, of course. This is the most common self-hate indicators. And below this, I wrote, if you have borderline, if you have narcissism, if you have cluster B, patient, or you are that, then you may have all of the above, or some of them. You will definitely have some of them. 100% guaranteed. I have never seen somebody who got diagnosed who didn't have some of this on the list. Just never seen it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's just not my experience. Okay? So this is a comprehensive list. Do your own research. Look into your chart. Look into the charts of those who you know are mentally ill. And make an exercise with me. Research yourself. Well, what indicators do they have? What do they have in their chart that I think could explain this? And then compare to what I just did in this video with all these aspects. Maybe what you're dealing with. If you don't have any of this, it's possible, it's unlikely, but could be. Perhaps there's something in your chart or your friend's chart, your child's chart, which is very similar to any of the mentioned. And if you have a narcissist in your life, you know that person must have at least 3 aspects of the above mentioned. Because you need multiple aspects. You can't just be a narcissist having moon in the 7th house. Like, that's not possible. Because that's just ridiculous. You have to have multiple things wrong with you or your childhood or your parents or something. Right. Narcissism, if that's what you were hoping to learn about in this video, narcissism is extreme. It's the worst of the worst. It's the rot of the rot. Okay. It's like malignant brain cancer, terminal, stage 10,000. Okay, like you're already dead, basically. It's a cancer of the soul. So you need to bring here the heavy ballistics to make somebody that, and you need more than one of them. You need the whole shebang. You need recovery. Okay? You don't get narcissism without severe destruction of how your whole mind and body operate. And you can see that in the chart. I wanted to open your mind to your imagination. Okay, this is astrology, what it does. It opens your mind to the possibility that indeed it is possible to look at somebody's chart and know from the get-go that that's not the somebody you want to interact with. Yes, and it's not racism. It's not astrologicism, whatever. Just science. It doesn't care if you find it morally or ethically fair to judge somebody as mentally ill from their chart. I don't care. This is just science. It's like dealing with a robot. So some robots have a computer virus, and then they have multiple viruses, and then more than multiple, and they're taken over by a Trojan. Okay, so you can see that. And other people, they have some viruses, but these viruses work like you go to the gym, you know, like you're lifting heavy weights. They get stronger from the issues. They don't get completely destroyed. Okay, so there's these two categories. You can have some of these aspects, and you can be, I have overcome this and been stronger than the average person, so I'm actually lucky to have some of these aspects. Or I can have these aspects and choose to be a victim and be destroyed by the destruction and not get back up. So other people are harmed by my refusal to take responsibility. Responsible, not responsible. That's the difference. It's that simple. Yeah. So I hope you found this helpful. And if you did, leave a like and a comment of what else you want to know about. If you're some question you have, something you're interested in learning. I just do all of this for free, like always. Do these videos daily. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, I recommend you do, because every single day I upload at least, because I'm a workaholic, at least one new video, and it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, so just do it. And if you're interested in reading and you want to learn more about your own chart and where is your mental illness coming from, or where is your mental health coming from, maybe there's something good in your chart for once, and you want to know where that is and how you can take advantage of it, how you can make money from it, how you can get something good with your miserable life, you know. If you want to manifest, right, then you should know what is your blueprint speciality. What are you born to manifest? And guaranteed, I can tell you this in a reading. Be happy to oblige. Just leave me a message on Facebook. I'm always available for readings every day of the week. And thanks for watching. See you in the next video.